الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد. In this khutbah, inshallah ta'ala, now that you're sitting here, we're requesting your undivided attention in order to learn 2 ayats from the book of Allah Ta'ala. Concentrate so that we can learn these 2 ayat that Allah Ta'ala has sent down and He has revealed them. And for the most part, if you were to ask any given masjid, the people who are in that masjid today, if you read these 2 ayat to them, people won't have a clue as to what the ayat is talking about. And that's not to put anyone down, but that's the reality. We have an opportunity on this Jummah, this day, to learn 2 ayats from the book of Allah in this illustrious month, on this illustrious, exalted day. And the Nabi told us in an authentic hadith that we mentioned here many times, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, for one of you to go to the masjid and to read 2 ayat or to learn 2 ayat from the book of Allah, it is better for you than to go and to get a nice camel, a nice car, a brand new Mercedes Benz. I would love a 2011 Mercedes Benz, or even better than that. But coming to the masjid and to read 2 ayat or to learn 2 ayat is better than that. And to go to the masjid and to read 3 ayat, better than 3 cars, 4 ayat, better than 4 cars, and on and on and on and on. So in this first Jummah of the blessed year, this year of Muharram, we want to deal with this ayat, these 2 ayat. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah Ta'ala has mentioned ayat number 102, قال ربنا سبحانه وتعالى ما جعل الله من بهيرة ولا سائبة ولا وصيلة ولا حام ولكن الذين كفروا يفترون على الله الكذب وأكثرهم لا يعقلون وإذا قيل لهم تعالوا إلى ما أنزل الله وإلى الرسول قالوا حسبنا ما وجدنا عليه آباءنا أولو كان آباؤهم لا يعلمون شيئا ولا يهتدون. Allah Ta'ala has mentioned something concerning the practice of the Kuffar of Quraysh, and this is connected to the lives of the Muslims as well, all of us. He said in this ayah, Allah has not made the Bahira, nor has He made the Sa'iba, nor has He made the Wasila, nor has He made the Ham from His religion. This is not accepted. Pay attention to these 4 words in our religion. Allah has not legislated the Bahira. Ya Abdullah, what is the Bahira? Allah has not legislated the Sa'iba. Abdullah Muslim, what is a Sa'iba in your religion? What is a Sa'iba? Allah Ta'ala has not made the Wasila with a Sad. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has not made the Ham from the religion. But instead, those people who disbelieve, they concoct lies against Allah, and most of them don't know. And if it is said to the Kuffar of Quraysh, or if it's said to the people concerning this issue and other issues, come to what Allah has revealed and to His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has explained what Allah has revealed. Come to the Qur'an and come to the Sunnah. You will find those people saying no. Instead, we're going to follow what we found our fathers doing. We don't want that Qur'an and we don't want that Sunnah. We're going to follow what we found our fathers doing. Allah said, tell them, Ya Muhammad, you're going to follow your fathers and what they were doing, your culture. You're going to follow your traditions. You're going to follow those. Although your fathers had no knowledge and your fathers were not rightly guided. When the Nabi came sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the Kuffar of Quraysh, and he said to them, Qulu la ilaha illallah. They didn't say to him, that equation doesn't make sense. That formula doesn't make sense, Ya Muhammad, and we're going to argue with you to show you how and why it doesn't make sense. They didn't say that. They said, we're not going to say La ilaha illallah because our fathers didn't say La ilaha illallah. So concerning this issue of these 4 points. Allah Ta'ala mentioned 4 practices of the people of Quraysh. One practice was the practice of the Bahira that Allah mentioned in the ayah. The Bahira was the thing that they had in their minds about a woman or any female animal that had a lot of babies. They would look at anyone who had a lot of babies, a man or a woman, as something that was special and spectacular. If a man had 20 children, even if they were all from zina, even if he wasn't taking care of them, even if they were out in the community creating chaos, they thought that that was a man. And the one who didn't have a baby, they will look at him or her as if something was wrong with that person. And that's why they told the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of their criticisms of him was, you don't have any sons. You don't have any sons, Ya Muhammad. And Allah Ta'ala explained to him that the one who was arguing with you, in the the one who was saying this, he's going to be forgotten. He won't be remembered. So the point here, the Bahira in this ayah, it was the camel, the female camel with the Quraysh. The female camel that had 5 offspring. After it had 5 babies, first 2 could be twins, could be triplets. The important thing is, if the camel had 5 babies, 5 offspring, they thought that was a big thing. After the 5th baby came out from the camel, they would slit the ear of the she camel, the mother. They would slit the ear, and they would tell the community, this camel is a Bahira. It can walk around and it can do whatever it wants to do. You can't milk it, you can't slaughter it, you can't shoo it away, you can't put anything on his back to carry. He was free, and they used to do that for their idols, not for Allah, for their idols, showing their sincerity to the idols. The 5th baby that came out of that camel, the Bahira, the 5th baby, they would look at it. If the baby came out as a female, they would leave it. They would slit the ear and say, you are like the mother, the Bahira. You'll grow up for the rest of your life. Anyone who sees this camel, they're going to respect it. If that camel came into your house and it began to eat your dough or did anything in your house, you were afraid during that time to even say, get out of my house. You just have to look at him. And they used to do that religiously. If it came out a girl, it would grow up the rest of its life being haram to eat. If it came out a boy, if it came out a male, then the Kuffar Quraysh said, we the men will eat it. We will eat it if it was a male. But if it came out a male, it was haram for the women. Haram. They made it haram for the women. If it came out dead, then the men and the women, they both can eat it. Allah Ta'ala mentioned about this issue and this process in Surah Al-An'am. وَقَالُوا مَا فِي بَطُونِ هَذِهِ الْأَنْعَامِ خَالِصَةٌ لِذَكُورِنَا وَمُحَرَّمٌ عَلَى أَزْوَاجِنَا وَإِنْ يَكُمْ مَيْتَةً فَهُمْ فِيهِ شُرَكَاء. They said, what is in the stomach of these cattle, in the stomach of these animals, they are special for only our men. Only our men. And it's haram for our women. But if it comes out dead, then our men and our women, all of us will eat from it. That's the Bahira. Allah didn't make that from the religion Quraysh. You making haram what Allah made halal. You making halal for some people and haram for other people. That's not from the religion. The second issue is the sa'iba. The sa'iba. The sa'iba, ikhwani, is very important because it's connected to the Prophet's mother and father, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is, the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained the sa'iba and how it was connected to the times of the Jahiliyyah. He told his community, last night I saw in a dream a man who was known to them in Jahiliyyah. His name was Amr ibn Luhay al-Khuza'i. Important personality in the history of the Arabs of Mecca, Quraysh. Amr ibn Luhay al-Khuza'i. He said, I saw him in the hellfire, dragging his intestines, being punished in the hellfire. They said, why is that, Ya Rasulullah? قال صلى الله عليه وسلم لأنه كان أول من سيب السوائب وغير الدين إسماعيل. He's going to be punished in the hellfire like that because he was the first person to make the sa'iba. And he was the first person to change the religion of Ismail and Ibrahim. Before the Prophet came sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Quraysh, the people of Quraysh, they were supposed to be on the religion of Ibrahim and Ismail. And some of them were. Abu Bakr never made shirk with Allah before the Nabi came. Rasulullah never made shirk with Allah before he was a Nabi and a Rasul. Abu Bakr never made shirk. Uthman never made shirk. Khadija never made shirk. Some of them even were Christians, like Waraqa ibn Nawfal, the cousin of Aish of Khadija. Some of the people didn't make shirk. Others made shirk. From them who made shirk, the mother and the father of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Amina and Abdullah, they made shirk. Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, they made shirk. And as a result of that, all of the people who made shirk before the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, they're going to go to the hellfire. And that's what the Nabi said. Whoever likes it, he likes it. Whoever doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. That's what the Nabi said, and that's what the Qur'an said. This man, Amr ibn Luhay al-Khuzai, he came and he changed the religion of Ibrahim and Ismail. He started to draw in the Kaaba, Ibrahim making divination, Ibrahim doing shirk. He was one of the people who introduced the idols of Quraysh. He was one of the people who came up with this concept of the Sa'iba that was mentioned in this ayah. Allah didn't make the Sa'iba. What's the Sa'iba? The Sa'iba is a process that the Quraysh used to do. If a man had a problem, if she had a problem, back during that time, the relative is going to come from a Sham. It's going to take him a month to get to Medina, get to Mecca. They would send a caravan and tell the people, tell my nephew, tell my uncle, tell my father, tell my wife, tell them that I'm coming. I'm going to leave on Saturday. I should be there in a month's time. The person is waiting for the relative to come and they're nervous. So they'll say during that time, if he arrives safely, I'm going to take this camel and I'm going to free it for the gods. I'm going to free it for the idols. If I have a baby boy, I'm going to free this one for the idols. They used to do this. They used to have that ikhlas. Sometimes he would say, the man of Quraysh, because my wife gave birth to 2 sons, I will free 10 slaves. They used to do that. Free 10 slaves, sometimes for Allah and sometimes for the idols. They had sincerity and they wanted to get close to Allah. As Sa'iba was the process. Anything that happened when they had a problem, they were free a camel, and that camel, you couldn't harm it, you couldn't touch it, you couldn't milk it, you couldn't slaughter it. It wasn't to work. It can eat from whatever it wants to eat from, and it can drink from wherever it wants to drink from, and it was for the idols. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in this ayah, that's not from the religion of Al-Islam. Although you have that sincerity, it's not from the religion of Al-Islam. It's not sanctioned, similar to some of us. In our culture, you'll find some people understand slaughtering is from the best deeds in Al-Islam. The Eid al-Adha, to slaughter for yourself, to slaughter for your mother, for your father, for your uncle, to slaughter for your child, that's from the best ibadat. Slaughtering is from the best ibadat. But the person comes with sincerity in our culture and he wants to slaughter for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm going to slaughter this for Rasulullah. Okay, that's a nice idea, but the question that has to be raised is, why didn't those companions who loved him and understood the religion better than us, why didn't they come up with that bright idea? Why didn't the Imams who we claim that we follow, Al-Imam Malik, Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, Al-Imam Ahmed, Al-Imam Al-Shafi, why didn't they come up with these bright ideas and write it in our books of our madahib? Why didn't they mention that? They didn't mention it because it's not from the religion. Although you're sincere, just like Quraysh was sincere, it's not accepted because it's not from the religion. And don't come and say the person who doesn't do it and the person who warns against it, he doesn't love Allah, he doesn't love Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Sa'iba, Ikhwani, was the process of the Kuffar of Quraysh setting out something and saying, this thing that happened, I'm going to make it haram for the people to eat it, to use it, to get benefit from it, and it can do whatever it wants to do. It's not from the deen. The third thing that Allah mentioned in the ayat is the wasila, with a sad, the wasila. The wasila was the sheep that's similar to the bahira. If a sheep gave birth to 7 babies, Quraysh thought it was a big thing. Not 5, 7. Not a camel, a sheep. If it gave birth to 7 babies, they would cut the ear of the mother and let the mother go. You can't do anything to the mother. It can eat whatever it wants to eat, go wherever it wants to go. They will look at the 7th baby. They're safe. If the 7th baby was a boy, the men will eat it and the women can't eat it. If the 7th baby was a girl, they're going to let the girl go and be just like the mother. And if it came out dead, the men and the women can eat it, making haram what Allah made halal. Now this is very important, just like the bahira. And that is, in our culture, we're similar to Quraysh. Some people in our masjid, in our community, some people from our relatives, they've been married and they don't have any children. Or they've been married and they have a sister or a brother who's married. The sister had a boy and the brother had a girl. The way we look at the one who has the boy is not like the way we look at the one who has a girl. We put pressure on the one who had a girl and we raise the position of the one who had a boy. But the real problem are those people who don't have babies at all. And what does our culture say in that case? Our culture automatically looks at the lady and says, something's wrong with you. Before the man and the woman, the husband and the wife, they don't get tested, but right away we judge and we have a position against the girl. All of the husbands, sisters, and aunties and mothers, they're against the girl, his wife. They start saying things like, why did we marry him to her anyway? We told you that family was a problem. That was the way Quraysh used to look at things. If you have a lot of babies, then you're okay. If you don't have a lot of babies, then you're not okay. But the one who has the correct aqeedah, and he knows that Allah is al-Khaliq. He mentioned in the Qur'an, لِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ يَهْبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ إِنَاثًا وَيَهْبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ الذُّكُورَ أَوْ يُزَوِّجُهُمْ ذُكْرَانًا وَإِنَاثًا وَيَجْعَلُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ عَقِيمًا. To Allah belongs everything in the heavens and everything in the earth. He creates whatever he wants to create, how he wants to create it. Some of the people, he gave them daughters. Other people, he gave them sons. Some of the people, he gave them daughters and sons. And some of the people, he left them without children. He left them barren. Allah made the lady like that. Allah made the man like that. Not like what Quraysh used to say. If you don't get babies, something's wrong with you. If you don't give me any boys, something's wrong with you. That's from Jahiliyyah. That's from the wasila, the sheep that gives 7 babies. The last one, ikhwani, is the ham. Pay attention to the ham. Allah didn't make the ham from his religion. What was the ham? The ham was, again, Quraysh's mentality. The ham was the stallion from the camel. There are different types of horses. There are different types of sheep. There are different types of camels. There is the camel, that's a sheep camel. There's a camel, that's a male camel. There's a camel that is the stallion. They used to take pride in that camel. He's the race horse or the race camel right now. He's the camel that they used to go and make jihad with. They used to wage their wars with. In Islam, if you are making jihad on a special type of horse or a special type of stallion, when the spoils of war are distributed, after the Muslims defeat the kuffar, the imam is going to give each mujahid stuff. If you have this type of camel, you get special. You get more stuff. You get more. Jihad, jihad. And we don't even know the ahkam about jihad. Jihad is not just killing people. Jihad is from the deen of Allah. It has ahkam. So the stallion, the major money-making camel to the Arabs, who was he? He was the one who they would take that stallion and have him to mate with other females in the hopes that if she was impregnated, the baby will come out like the father. And the Arabs believe, and this is some truth in it, if the father is strong, his disposition is strong, many times the baby will come out like that. If the father is weak, the mother is weak, many times the baby will come out like that. Sometimes it's not the case. So you have to look for a strong man, you have to look for a strong woman. Then Nabi told the people, Zawwiju al-wadud al-walud. You men, marry the women who are loving and the women who are prolific. They have a lot of babies. How do you know they have a lot of babies? And Allah is the creator of the heavens and the earth and you don't know. You know, as indications, her mother had 12 kids. Her sister had 15 kids. The other one had 9 and the other one had 10. It's a good possibility that that woman is going to be prolific. But it doesn't always happen. The point is that stallion would be allowed to mate with the other children. And after that, to mate with the other females. After the mating process, they would let it go. It can go wherever it wants to go. It can do whatever it wants to do. Now look what Quraysh, look at the mindset. Look at the culture. Look at the customs. Look at the traditions. Whether they make sense, they don't make sense. This stallion, the Nabi made it haram. One of the places that we cannot pray in Islam is if you go to Somalia, and you go to Pakistan, you go to the Arab world, You go to the zoo, you go somewhere where there's a camel and the place or the corral of the camel. You cannot pray in that area. It's haram to pray in that area. You can't pray in the hammam where there's najasa. Allah's Prophet ﷺ made it haram to pray in the corral of the camel. If camels are being held in this area, don't pray there. Even if all of them are over there and you want to pray in the corner, you can't pray inside of that corral in Islam. Why? One of the reasons is because of this ham. This stallion camel, something is wrong with him. Sometimes he's okay and he's calm, and sometimes for no apparent reason he goes crazy and he goes berserk. And he will come and he will attack you. The owner of this ham camel, he trains and he has this camel for 15, 20 years. It appears that the camel likes him. When he calms down. But the trainer, the owner of that ham knows at any moment that stallion camel will bite your head off. He will attack you. So because of that danger, the Nabi didn't allow us to pray in their corral. Quraysh, they would free that camel. If that camel came into your house, you have to let him come into your house. If that camel attacked you and he stepped on your head and he harmed you, no one would do anything. And then after you were hurt and harmed and killed, the people will say, MashaAllah, he was killed by the ham. It's a good sign. They used to believe that. It's a good sign that the ham attacked his baby and killed his baby, bit the ear off, bit the nose off. And they did that because of their iman, their belief in the ham, that the gods favored them by allowing them to be killed by this animal. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Qur'an, Ikhwani, these 4 issues are not from the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. What's the point of the khutbah? When you leave here today, after learning this ayah, when you leave here today, and you go back and someone says, what was the khutbah about at Hard Top Road? Don't say the khutbah was about cultivating camels, purchasing camels, and the beauty of livestock. No, the khutbah is about traditions, culture, customs. And Islam pays attention to the Pakistani culture, to the Arab culture, to the African culture, to the European culture. Islam, every people have their culture. Every people. Allah mentioned in the Qur'an, خُذِ الْعَفُوَ وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. When people do something wrong to you, pardon them and forgive them. And take from the urf, take from the customs, take what is good. In our custom, our elders here, it is not a nice thing to sit with your foot facing a man's face. It is not nice to put your foot towards the Qibla. So a young person who's following the sunnah, he has his foot towards the Qibla. He has his foot towards an elder. The elder says to him, hey, what are you doing? Respect the Kaaba. The young man says, where's the dalil for that? Where's the ayat or the hadith that says I can't do that? Nah, yahi, that's the culture. That's okay in the deen. That's the custom in the culture. That we don't talk before the elders speak. For an example. But when the custom and the culture goes against the religion, like in the case of the Bahira, and the Sa'iba, and the Wasila, and the Ham, when the culture is mixed up with shirk and kufr and bid'ah, then we don't do it. And when it said to them, come to what Allah has revealed into the Rasul, they say, no, we want to do what we found our fathers doing. We're hearing young people saying, you have to have a madhab, and if you don't have a madhab, something's wrong with your Islam. Okay, no problem. No problem. Where's the dalil for that? And why is it that if you're Pakistani, your madhab has to be Hanafi? And if you're Somali, your madhab has to be Shafi'i? Where did you get that from? Okay, I want to have a madhab. Why do I have to have the madhab that you're telling me? Because your father was on that madhab. No, that's not our religion. Why are you Braille? Why are you Braille? Are you a Braille because you read about Brailleism and it made sense to you and you embraced that idea? Or are you Braille because my mother and my father were Braille and my grandmother and grandfather were Braille? That's why I'm Braille. It doesn't make sense to me. It's just I'm doing it because my parents did it. Allah said, أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. Even though their parents didn't know, they were not guided right. Customs, culture, tradition, it's okay. I'm a Pushtun. This is an example. I'm a Pushtun. And it's well known that me and my people are brave and loyal people. We're brave and we're loyal people. And I'm going to be loyal to my uncle and my cousins and my friends if they are having a war with drug dealers because they're fighting over the turf. They're selling drugs. We're selling, my friends are selling drugs. Not me. I'm not selling drugs. But because I'm Pashtun, I have to go and support them because we're loyal. La ya akhi. Loyalty is beautiful. Loyalty is from the deen. That is an honorable characteristic to be in any group of people, but not when it's dealt with like that. Honor killings. Honor killings. We must kill them. We have to kill them. Why? This is what our fathers used to do. The way we treat our wives. This is how we treat women in our culture. This is how we treat them. The woman has, and even some of us who come from Africa, Allah musta'an. Some of us who come from Africa, we take our daughters and we circumcise our daughters and we mutilate them. And the women, our wives and our mothers and our aunties, if your wife does not agree to mutilate your daughter and to cut out her private parts and sew it up, if your wife doesn't do that, all of the women will look at you and your wife as something's wrong with you. Okay, why should we do that to our daughter? Why? Why? The answer is, if you don't, she'll commit zina. Did Khadija commit zina? Did Aisha commit zina? Did Asiya commit zina? Did the righteous women who are walking around right now commit zina? That doesn't prevent a lady from committing zina, and it's haram. Why you do it? That's what our fathers do. So the khutbah, ikhwani, is not about cultivating animals and going to the zoo and becoming a veterinarian. That is not the khutbah. The khutbah is about your culture. Your culture. Why is it that in some of our masjids, we have to address the people in Urdu? For an example, everybody speaks English. 99%, 98% of the people speak English. Why is your masjid a masjid that insists on speaking the language that half of the community doesn't understand? Your children don't understand. That's what our fathers did, so that's what we must do. Islam, ikhwani, is a religion that allows for flexibility. And Islam came and it embellishes the culture of everyone, wallahi. It makes our culture that much better, the good things of our culture. But the religion also came and it said, when your culture is in conflict with the deen of Islam, don't be like the people of Quraysh. Don't be like the people who say, no, we're going to do what we found our fathers doing. That is not the answer in the deen, and that's not the answer of the intelligent Muslim. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى التوفيق والسداد. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Ikhwani, today, before coming to this khutbah, I was in two minds. I really wanted to give the khutbah about another issue, but I have to mention in these last few moments, bi'idhnillah. But I really wanted to make the khutbah about this issue of something that's taking place in the Muslim world right now. People of Ahlul Hadith should know about it. First of all, these problems that are taking place in Egypt, Algeria, Libya, Syria, it concerns us because the stability of the Muslims is being compromised and people are getting killed. Despots and oppressive leaders, they can't leave the chair, and the way the Muslims want to get them out of the chair and all of the confusion that comes as a result of it. And the kuffar are in the middle, in the mix, making all kinds of issues and all kinds of problems, and we're losing our lives. Big fitna facing the Muslim time. We don't distinguish between any group of people. We're concerned about the lives and the blood and the property of all Muslims. But obviously, if you're from Syria, you're going to be closer to that issue because that's where your relative, that's your country. What happens in Pakistan, it's going to affect you more because that's where you come from. What's going on in Somalia, it's going to affect you more because that's where you come from. But I, not coming from Pakistan, Somalia, and Syria, I can't detach myself as a Muslim, so it doesn't bother me because the Muslims are like one body. If part of his body hurts, one part, his arm hurts, his head, and the rest of his body doesn't say, that's your problem, go ahead, you handle your business. The whole body is going to suffer from sleeplessness and fever. If you get divorced, it affects me. I'm not happy for that. Someone sent the paper. They're going to have a brain surgery. Muhammad Ibrahim is going to have operation Thursday due to a brain tumor. That affects all of us. So we're going to ask Allah Ta'ala to make it easy for that man, to make that operation successful. The point is, all of this drama that's going on in the Muslim world, it affects us. But there's one issue I want to bring to your attention. You're not aware of it because Reuters is not going to talk about it. Al Jazeera is not going to talk about it. BBC is not going to talk about it. In Yemen, there is an institution of studying called Darul Hadith. Arabs started. One of the greatest scholars of this time. His name is Muqbil. Sheikh Muqbil. Sheikh Muqbil al-Wadi'i. Tremendous scholar of al-Hadith. Tremendous scholar of al-Hadith. 30 years ago, he started this Darul Hadith, where you can go there for free to study. Your child can go there for free to study. And when they're studying there for free, they're studying Qala Allah, Qala Rasulullah, the way of the Salaf and the way of Ahlul Hadith. You can memorize the Qur'an and become a good Muslim. It's difficult to live there, difficult. Malaria, dysentery, and all kinds of other issues. It's not easy, and they have to contend with that. So we have people from the UK, people from all over the world, Indonesia, Japan, all over the world, they go there and they study. In that area, there are a group of Shiite, Rafida Shiite, Kufar Shiite, Ithna Ashariya Shiite, people who on the 10th of Muharram are going to do all kinds of crazy things because that's what they found their fathers doing. For the last month, they have blockaded those brothers and sisters who are studying. And because Yemen doesn't have a government right now, and that place is far away, they blockaded the people for the last month, and the people are dying one by one. For the last month, people of Ahlul Hadith, people of the Sunnah. I care about the Muslims in Egypt and in Syria and in Pakistan. But the people of Ahlul Hadith have a special place because they're the Ghuraba. Inshallah, may Allah make us from them. The Houthis, these people of the Shiite, they have military might more than those people. They have AK-47s. That's all they have. The other kuffar from the Rafida, they have serious military weapons. What's their problem? What's their problem with those people in the camp? Their problem is those people are Wahhabis. They don't love Rasulullah. Those people are going to spread Wahhabism. And they hate them like some of our relatives hate you when you come to the Sunnah. Some of these Muslims hate you just because you say, Rabbi Allah, wa Rasulullah, who is my Nabi. He's not my Ilah, he's not my Khaliq. So the people say, you don't love Rasulullah, I hate you. There are Muslims like that. They will kill you because you believe in that, especially in Pakistan, places like that. For the last 2 weeks, since Saturday, actually, they started shooting the people one by one. You go to the YouTube and you put in the YouTube damage, killings, they're going to show you the pictures of the 23 people who were killed recently, where all of them, most of them were shot in the head. The sniper is sitting there and he's just shooting. You come out of your house, they're shooting you one by one. A lady came out of the library, they shot in that head. Women are pregnant, they're losing their babies and they're dying because they can't go to the hospital. They've been trapped for 40 days, 40, no food, no anything. That's what's taking place right now in Yemen with people of the Sunnah. I want to bring that to your attention so that you'll take the opportunity today, on this Friday in Muharram, to make dua to those people, to Allah, make dua to Allah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps those people and those students that were killed unjustly in that type of way, that Allah ta'ala gives them shahada. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't forget those people in your dua on this Friday and other than this Friday, as well as the rest of the Muslims who are sick, like this brother Muhammad Ibrahim. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala establish us firmly upon the Kitab and the Sunnah in accordance with the understanding of the Salaf of his Ummah, and may he not allow us to die except people of a Tawheed. May he protect us from shirk and innovation. And may he give back to the Muslims their place of prominence. Lastly, concerning that issue, Ikhwani, you young brothers, they asked a Sheikh, Salih al-Fawzan, one of the big scholars today, Sheikh, what's your advice to the people of Damaj, of Ahl Sunnah, those Salafi brothers? What's your advice to them in this fitna? The Sheikh could have said anything. He said, my advice to them is that they should stop having ikhtilaf between themselves. Because in Yemen, Ahl Sunnah al Hadith, like in Pakistan, like in the UK, Ahl Sunnah are fighting each other. I don't agree with you, you don't agree with me, and we have all these problems. In this masjid, our top masjid, Green Lane Masjid, we're having these problems. He said, I advise them to stop having ikhtilaf, because if their enemies saw that they were united, they wouldn't dare try to harm them. That's what Allah mentioned in the Qur'an. وَلَا تَنَازَعُوا. Don't fight between yourselves, because if you do, your power will go away. Your enemy is going to come and get you. People of the Sunnah, love the Sunnah, love the people of the Sunnah, and have the proper etiquette in al-ikhtilaf. Establish the salat, yarhamakumullah.